Welcome to Dicta, your weekly dose of law school and bar exam info. I'm Carrie Ann.
And I'm Puyan, and we're the co-founders of Vinco. What we will talk about today is how you should structure and do work during your break from law school.
Yeah, not to be a Debbie Downer, but there are some things that you can do over the break between fall and spring semester to set you up for success.
Definitely. So the reason for this is so that you are not overwhelmed during your next semester, and we're going to really break this down into 3 parts. The first is doing a post-mortem on your last semester.
So it's really important that you don't just stick your head in the sand and say, that was horrible, I don't ever want to think about it again.
Yeah, that's what I did every time, by the way.
And to just forget it ever happened. Because law school is a growing experience, and I am telling you firsthand that the people who fight this either don't succeed or make their lives way more difficult than they need to by not learning from their experiences.
So we understand that by break time between your 2 semesters, you may not even have your grades for the past semester, but you can still analyze your performance during the previous semester. Did you feel prepared going into the exams, coming out of the exams? Were you prepared for each class? Did that preparation, in your opinion, affect the outcome? Mm-hmm. And by outcome, I mean your final exam grade, which even though you may not have, you could still really analyze the situation.
Yeah, and just looking at how many practice questions did you do for each class? Mm-hmm. What style of practice question, right? Were you practicing for a multiple choice test by doing multiple choice questions? Things like that. What study did you use? Pretty much everything that you had going on, any system that you had, like kind of put it in writing and just say what you did, because even if you don't have your grades, then as soon as you get them, you can very quickly say, okay, great, the system for crim worked perfectly, system for common law not so much, I'm not going to do that again. So really then it's just you can gather all the information, and the assessment then can take place whenever your grades
know, it's actually that's a really good point, because if you think you did really well in a class before you got your grades, and then you get your grades and you realize you didn't, that should be a wake-up call that system or whatever you did needs to be revisited and probably substantially modified. I mean, it's how you feel. I went into several exams. I remember one time I went into this one exam that I thought I was very prepared for, and I did very poorly. I went into another exam that I thought I wasn't prepared for because I didn't spend that much time studying, and I got an A in it. And it turns out, in retrospect, I got that A because I just did all my work during the year, found it interesting and engaging, and I just spent more time during the year, even though I spent less time immediately before the exam cramming.
Yeah, I think that kind of brings us to point 2, which is putting systems in place for next semester. So what is that quote about the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result?
Right.
I think 90% of law students are insane because this is what I see all the time. But this is how I study for final exams. But I got a C in the class and I wasn't happy. But this is how I study for final exams.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's taking that information, just like you said, taking it and then changing what you're doing and trying something else in the next semester.
But we get it. It's difficult to acknowledge that your system wasn't working or that you need to completely revamp everything you're doing. But it's really important to document how you did in the past semester, analyze those systems, and then if you see you didn't do as well as you thought, you need to revise those systems and try to create a plan. And don't just think about a plan. Write it down.
Yeah.
For the next semester, and so on and so forth. Every semester you should be performing, with some exception, better than the last semester as you fine-tune your systems.
Yeah, definitely. I think that that's really good advice. This is not just for this break, it's something you can do over summer break and as you move on in your law school career.
And by the way, as a business owner, we have to do this too.
Yeah, this is good life advice.
We're constantly tweaking our systems, and my systems are nowhere near perfect, but I hope that they'll constantly be improving.
It's something that grows with you. So the third thing that you can do over break is some personal development stuff in terms of, brush up that resume, make it where it needs to be, look at your cover letters, start looking for internships. Sometimes these things just start overwhelming you during the course of the semester, but if you start planning ahead, okay, what do I need to do to get a summer internship? What are those deadlines? When can I set up a meeting with career services? Things like that, so that it's not like you're back in the swing of things for the semester, you're studying, you're outlining, and oh shit, I need an internship. Yeah. Now you've put a system in place for that.
Absolutely. During the semester, you're overwhelmed with, meetings and classes and study groups and whatever extracurriculars that may come up. Job search, resume development and updating, and things like that with regard to career development typically take the back burner. I mean, I remember I was really overwhelmed during one semester, but I made it like a priority to send out at least one resume a day. If I had just spent my break sending out resumes, I could have probably sent out 100 in a week if I just treated it like a 40-hour job. And that would have really given me an advantage.
So I'm not even suggesting going that far overboard. We want to take things to their extreme. I'm just saying get yourself organized and send out some. But we also get that it's break. And I'm not suggesting that you spend your entire break doing work or preparing for class or any of that. I'm saying set yourself aside 3 or 4 days to look at these things and do them. And I mean, just those 3 or 4 days can make a huge difference in your semester. I mean, or you could spend the whole time sending out resumes, whatever you want to do.
At the very least, update your resume and update your writing sample. Get some references in place. And I mean, if I personally, by my 3L year, I was doing a lot of research about the bar exam by break time.
Yeah. A lot of this depends on what you're doing, right? If you're 1L, you're going to be looking for internships, 2L internships, 3L jobs, bar exam, things like that. But really, it's just to get you thinking about using this as prep time, some of it, and not just blowing off steam time, which is super important, and you should spend most of your time doing that. So hopefully these tips can be incorporated into your break and can help set you up for success in the spring. If you want to run a suggestion by us, you should hop onto Facebook and join the Vinco Facebook group, or you can email me, Carrie Ann at vincoprep.com.